Good morning, my friends, and welcome to the 10-Minute Book Talk, where three best-selling authors talk all things bookish with you for 10 short and sweet minutes every week. I'm your host today, Rachel Linden, and I'm joined by Marie Bostwick and Katherine Reay, my lovely co-hostesses. And today we have a dear friend and fellow author, Kristy Woodson Harvey, with us to talk about her delightful and beachy, perfect for summer reading, new book, Beach House Rules. Kristy, welcome and tell us about your wonderful new book.
Thank you guys for having me. I'm so excited to be back. So Beach House Rules is a story about a woman named Charlotte who comes home to find her house covered in caution tape because her husband has been accused of a white collar crime. And she is having a little bit of a temper tantrum in her local bank, as I presume one might do in this situation. And a woman that she vaguely knows from her town kind of pulls her out and tells her that she has a former bed and breakfast that she is now hosting her niece and her three children, and one of her niece's friends and her two children inside of, and that if Charlotte and her daughter Iris would like to come stay with them while they figure out their next steps, they are welcome to. Charlotte does not want to take her up on this, but she doesn't have a choice because she doesn't have anywhere to go. And so she picks her daughter up from school and tells her this is the plan, and that bright, cheery mom voice we use when we're trying to trick our kids into thinking something is a good idea. But Iris is a freshman in high school and knows all about the so-called mommune and is not very excited until she realizes that the hunky heartthrob football star lives in the mommune also, and then she thinks she has won the lottery. But these women all bond really quickly because they, have all come here under somewhat dire circumstances. And then they start to realize there's something that connects them that they were not aware of. And it makes them wonder whether their coming together was actually a coincidence or if maybe it was orchestrated by something outside of themselves.
Da,
Oh,
da, da.
dun, dun, dun. Well, I love this idea. Kristy, I am all about books that celebrate female friendship and sisterhood. So until this, and until your book came along, I had not heard of a mommune. So where did you get this idea, and why did you decide to go in that direction? Tell us more about that.
Oh my gosh. Well, this was such a random idea, but I felt like it was chasing me. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever felt this way before, but I didn't realize it. Like, it took me a while to be like, oh no, this idea is following me around. So 2 summers ago, I'd just gotten home from book tour. I was watching Good Morning America, and some women came on to talk about their mommune. And I'd never heard of a mommune, but of course, it's you think mom commune. I mean, that's where your mind goes. So I'm thinking something a little more like kumbaya than what it actually is. But these women really had just decided that they'd all found themselves as single mothers for reasons that they were surprised by, and they were financially having a really difficult time surviving. So they decided if they moved in together, they could solve some of their problems, and then realized that like the emotional support piece of this was just hugely important. And so I thought, well, that is so nice. Like, good for them, figuring out a way to make this work. Went on about my day. So a few days later, an article popped up for me about a mommune. And a few days later, another article popped up for me about a mommune. And then I give myself little deadlines, which I'm sure you guys probably do too. And I was like, okay, today's the day. I'm starting my new book. I had already sold an idea. Like, I had something completely different that I was going to be writing. And I was riding home from dropping my son off at camp and heard these women come on the radio and talk about their mommune. And I was like, oh my gosh. Well, a woman called in to tell them that they were the downfall of America, that they were ruining the family, and like all of these things. She was so mean. And I was chuckling a little because I always say, like, there's a 1-star reviewer everywhere. Like, someone is mad about the way you're breathing.
So true.
You
So
know,
true.
like, forget our books. Like, it's just everything. We are just getting 1-stars everywhere. So, I just thought this was really funny, and it wasn't fun. I mean, I felt bad for them, but I just also thought, oh my gosh, like, get a grip, this doesn't affect you in any way. But I walked in the house, I'm making coffee, and I had this thought of like, what would people in a really small Southern town say about a mommune? And that was that like head to toe chills moment where I was like, okay, I have to write this book because, I think we might not have seen a mommune in those terms before, but we've seen these types of ideas. And so for me, it wasn't really so much like best friends move in a house to raise their kids. It was more like the perception versus reality of like what a small Southern town that does not like anything unconventional would say about what was going on inside this house versus what was actually happening.
I love that.
Love
I
it.
love this idea. Love
Yeah.
the idea of a mommune. I want to be part of a mommune,
Right? No,
but
it's
also keep my
funny.
husband. Can we
Yeah.
like
I
keep
know.
my
I was
husband
gonna
and be part
say,
of a mommune?
Uh-huh. I super need my husband, but also a mommune is, and in fact, I actually thought, like, to that end, I thought there would be more issues in this book. Like, I thought, you know, there are a couple arguments, there are a couple disagreements, but as I got into the book, I was like, what's there to argue about? Like, you know who's doing the laundry, you know who's doing the cooking, you know who's driving carpool. What? There's nothing to argue about.
right.
Life could be so simple in the mommune. All right. Well, I want to talk about, so I read the book and I love, love, love your sense of place. You just write, you know, I'm on the West Coast. And so you're writing these darling beach towns. And this one is the very upscale, exclusive beach town, Juniper Shores. And I loved the setting that you created for this book. And it felt like I was there. I felt like I took a little vacation, which is what you want in a summer book. So I know you live in an adorable town on the coast. What's the inspiration for Juniper Shores? Talk about the setting.
So I've written about Beaufort before, where I live. So I wrote about Beaufort, the real Beaufort in A Happier Life. And then Beaufort was also the inspiration for my Peachtree Bluff series. So I've written that kind of, and it's a little more of like a quirky downtown, small town, year-round kind of thing. Whereas Juniper Shores was really kind of this mishmash of Atlantic Beach, which is like right over the bridge from us. We're there every day during the summer. And then the beaches of 30A, specifically in Seaside, Florida, where they have that cute little Airstream village. I just think that is so adorable. And I was like, I really want to put that in a book. So I liked the idea of doing something that was a little more upscale than some of the beach towns I've done, because I think it's realistic. I mean, I think, you know, a lot of these these seaside communities, you know, do have these kind of and I thought it was a great setting for a book about a man who is stealing money from his neighbors.
Well, and for a woman who suddenly is in that lifestyle and suddenly is without funds, thus the mommune. So yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. But I love writing those little towns and just kind of being immersed in that, and I think, you know, living here is a big part of that too, because I want people to like kind of get to go on that vacation with me.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I
Yes,
loved
please.
how in this book you wrote it from different perspectives, which I love. But the most interesting to me was Iris, 13-year-old girl's perspective. So I wanted to know, what was it like to write in that perspective? And you have a son. I don't think you have a 13-year-old daughter. I'd love to know just how you captured her so beautifully.
Well, thank you for that. So I do have a 13-year-old son, but of course I was writing this book 2 years ago, so he was only 11 then. But the women that I actually dedicated this book to are largely kind of I call them my summer mommune. And we were talking about this before. My son has all these friends that come in for the summer, and he loves to hang out with them because it's this like short little period of time. And it's the same with me. I mean, we see each other a couple times during the year, but these friends are really friends that I see in the summer.
Yeah.
And they have children all different ages. And so these kids have all grown up together. And I feel like that summer I was spending so much time with these girls that are, you know, daughters of my friends, and just learning about, you know, remembering, I guess, more like what they were thinking about and what was going on with them. And I think teenagers have this, I don't mean this as a slight, I mean this is kind of like a self-protective mechanism. I think they're able to take the really worst things that are happening to them and still be like just self-absorbed enough that like they can make it through. Like, yeah, my dad's in jail, but like, where are my shoes? You know, I mean, like, is the boy still gonna like me? And like, I think it's kind of a self-protective mechanism. So it was really fun to write that. And there's a burner phone in this book that Iris gets, and I did not know about burner phones. And this was a real anecdote from one of my friend's daughters who was grounded, and she said, well, I'm fine because I have a burner phone. And I was like a drug dealer? And she was like, yeah, you know, and was like explaining to me how this worked. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, well, one, I should tell your mom. And two, this is absolutely going to unlock this like really critical piece of my book that I needed to help with. So
I love
So
that.
thank
The burner phone. Oh my goodness. Yes, I loved that part. All right. Well, I think this is such a fun beach read. It is a perfect book to put in your bag. If you're going to the beach or not going to the beach, it's going to take you to the beach and into a commune, which is a place I think we're all going to really enjoy. Kristy, thank you for being with us today. And I want to ask you the last question that we ask everybody, which is, what is bringing you joy today?
I love that so much. Well, seeing all of you, of course, is bringing me joy today. And
Mm.
I'm taking a little time. I'm going to go have some lunch with some girls. My husband and son are fishing, so we're going to have a little girls' lunch. And that's always a fun treat in the middle of a work day. So I'm super
Yes.
excited about that.
Oh, that sounds delightful. That's a great reason.
Yeah.
All right. Well, everybody run out, grab Beach House Rules, whether you're going to the beach or the forest or just staying put on a staycation. This is the book you want to have for summer reading, and you'll enjoy it, and you too can experience the commune. So thank you, Kristy. We look forward to seeing you next time. And everybody, we look forward to seeing you next week for more 10-minute book talk fun. Bye.
Thanks, ladies. Y'all are the best. Bye.